My name is Cassie, and my life was changed when I was adopted through foster care. My life growing up was filled with chaos. Before 11 years old, I experienced physical and verbal and sexual abuse. Men were constantly coming in and out of the house. I felt like I didn't really get enough sleep at night because I often woke up to hands exploring my body. And as a young girl, it was all that I knew, and I thought that everyone experienced things like that, and so it was normal, and to not talk about it. I was threatened multiple times. There were a few instances that led up to me being removed from my birth family, and the big one that set it over was the night that my mom lost control. She abused me to the point where I had bruises on my body and welt marks on my body for days, and it was painful. I couldn't sit or sleep, and about 2 nights after my abuse, I had went to the ER for an ear checkup because my ear was having problems. The nurse was putting the medical band on my wrist, and she saw the bruises on my arms and my face, and next thing you know, CPS was at my door coming in and taking photos of my body. My first night in foster care was scary. That was the first night that I knew that change is very possible and that it can happen very suddenly. I was told that I needed to sleep in my own room, and so I was put in bed in my own room and had snuck into my siblings' room and slept with my brothers, and I got in trouble the next morning for sleeping with my brothers. And that was really confusing for me because that's the only thing that I knew as comfort. That's the only thing I knew as normal. I went through about 4 or 5 different temporary placement homes, and those were homes where I went a few days to a few weeks in the home. And in about my 5th or 6th home, I was placed into a permanent placement home, and I was there for 2 years. When I was going on 13 years old, my birth aunt and my birth uncle stepped up and said that they wanted to adopt my younger brother and I. So I moved in with them, and it was going great. We were getting to know one another. We would do everything together. We went to church together. We would do Bible time together, and we would read the Word as a family. And then things went for a turn really quickly. Right around my 13th birthday, my uncle began to sexually abuse me. And for me, that was the most traumatic experience because at this point I was in foster care. I knew that the things that I went through was wrong and that I shouldn't have experienced those things. And so to experience them again, I felt like that was what I was made for, that sexual abuse was something that I was destined to continue to live because it could continue to follow me. I had to question God, like, how is there a God in heaven but allow something like this to happen? Because of the abuse that I experienced in that home, I went back into foster care, and that's where I met my forever family. I was at an event, and I gravitated towards a family where there was 6 children and 2 parents, and I decided that I wanted to hang out with them and get to know them a little more. I started getting invited to family events that they had, and I got invited to spending weekends with them, and so they were making trips out to pick me up. After a couple months of spending time with them, the mom and dad picked me up and took me out to Cold Stone and asked me to be a part of their family. When I joined my forever family, my parents were offered a journal that had everything that I had ever done in it, and my parents turned it down. They wanted to give me the opportunity to start in a new area and not have what was placed upon me still weighing over me. And for me, that was really big because I decided to look at God with the same eyes, to wipe the slate clean, to give him a new start and give him opportunities to show me who he truly is in a home that is Christian as well. Some of the challenges that we faced as a family was my troubles to submit to authority. My mom and I would butt heads a lot, and we would get into arguments. And from the trauma that I experienced in the past, a lot of my trauma came from my birth mom. And so for me to know that there's a mom in my life now, it was really hard for me to connect with her. In my 5 years of being adopted, it took 4 years for me to let my mom in, to let her close and near to the intimate places of my heart. And it took a really hard experience for me to say, okay, I need a mom to teach me what it means to be a godly woman. And so by making that decision, my mom and I have been working on healing and building an intimate and close relationship. As I continue to walk through healing, it's just so wonderful to know that I have a family that's walking alongside me and have that assurance that I'm not alone.